All right, welcome. Welcome back. You're still watching NTV Sport Knights. Thank you so much for staying with us. Listen up. Let me apologize that I'm laughing courtesy of the off-air discussion because of the NTV main promo that was about love. And that discussion got people here. Oh, speaking. I didn't know Clive has such bold text when it comes to love. But anyway, let's get back to the NTV Sport Knights discussion this very evening. Our discussion will be about the question of mental health in Ugandan sport. I won't say much because, listen, we have an expert in studio, so I'm basically here for lessons and also remembering that we have someone who deals a little bit with that when it comes to one of his projects, you know, the Game of Life, Legends Marathon, and everything else around life after. And mental health is such a crucial part of that. So Joshua Lubwama, a player with the UAFC, but most importantly, for the sake of this discussion, he is a community psychologist. Joshua, good to have you. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. Everything is okay, and it's really an honor, and thanks for having me.
Still beaming with a bit of confidence after that win over KCC?
Surely, surely. We're semi-finalists by now.
I need to add that?
Please.
Oh, okay. Let me redo this. In studio with us this evening, we have a semi-finalist of the Uganda Cup.
That's it.
Who eliminated who?
KCC.
Okay. But Joshua, good to have you. Where do we even start when it comes to this discussion? Let's just start with what your role entails. When we hear a community psychologist, what does your role entail?
Basically, a community psychologist is a mental health practitioner that honestly deals with anything to do with mental health. But something that people at times tend to confuse is that they tend to think that a community psychologist that is a psychiatrist. But then there's a very big difference between the two. Yes, a psychiatrist is this person, a medical doctor, a professional medical doctor that of course offers the diagnosis and anything to do with medicine and then prescribing what may be medicine to take for a given mental health related disorder or condition. But then a community psychologist is this person that carries out a few things to do with assessment and then assesses somebody so that to see how that person is faring and how that person is catching up with their mental well-being. Yeah.
When you speak about assessing,
yeah.
What does that involve? A conversation?
Yes. For assessing, we have what we call assessment tools. And then given those assessment tools, some come in questionnaires. And then speaking of assessment still, I can as well talk to you through therapy. There's what we call psychotherapy, or in a simple layman's language, it's just the talk therapy or counseling. Yeah, sitting somebody down and then you have a conversation. Yeah.
Maybe I should have mentioned this at the start. Andrew, Emanzi, and Clive, when we're used to seeing, athletes in their jerseys, when you see Joshua suited up, I saw him and I said, wait a minute, this is him?
Yeah, that was me.
But the couple of times we've tried to invite athletes on the show, they have really tried their level best too.
You won't get what you expect to get from me, but so before the gentlemen do come in, we all understand mental health. If you asked all of us to describe what we call mental health, I'm sure we'd have different descriptions. But from where you see, Joshua, when we speak about mental health, what are we speaking about exactly?
All right. Thank you for that wonderful question. And then I want to start by maybe telling people right here that maybe watching us that for anybody that has a mind, definitely they have mental health. And simply mental health is simply the mental well-being, one's mental well-being. That's simply mental health. And then maybe to break it down a bit, maybe that's something that is going to further our discussion. This mental health that we are talking about, in the start I said anybody that has a mind or a brain, they have mental health. So where does the problem come in? Or where do most people put emphasis on? It's on mental illness, mental unwellness, and then anything to do, because allow me to say that it's like a myth. If anybody speaks about mental health, in Uganda here people start thinking about Butabika, somebody's not maybe
madness
and all those things. But yet mental health is simply one's mental well-being. But then it proceeds to maybe given a wide range of conditions that affect one's moods, one's thinking, and then one's behavior. And that's what we call the mental illness that everybody maybe should be scared about, but yeah, we are here. And then as the discussion goes on, we shall literally see that normalizing such talks bring us the knowledge to understand that it's not really something big, and then we can handle it and then, yeah, work with it in our day-to-day life activities.
All right. Andrew, I'll start with you. I know how passionate you are when it comes to this topic.
Mine is quite simple. One, happy to have you.
Thank you.
To have someone who is playing the game actively, but they also have their life outside of the game.
Thank you.
And doing something that not everyday people do. Back at URA, do the people who you play with know what you do outside of the field?
It's a nice question, but allow me to say that not quite a number. And why? It's because that they see me as a fellow player. I mean, we are sharing the same locker room. We are sharing like the same normal jokes day in, day out. So I honestly can't blame them because for any individual, honestly, when you're working with them, it's really quite hard to take you serious.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, and it really hurts in a way because you find yourself helping quite a number of people, and moreover not from your club. Yeah. So I think it's something that it's a fixed mindset. Allow me to say that because we need to actually change that, because it's really so sad seeing me maybe helping people from a given club X, yet maybe my fellow players might be also facing given challenges in line with mental health. So for now, allow me to say that I've always focused on the junior players per se, the junior players on the team, because at least they can literally give you an ear, they can listen to you. But then the fact that we have a couple of senior players in there, honestly, they take you for a bade to bade, you know. So however much you try to bring in a discussion in regards to mental health, they see it as a joke. But then I'm glad that however much it's in such a manner, but then I don't stop at that. I tend to at least refer to my other colleagues like Edgar Kaziwe, and some other colleagues in the field of psychology, so that maybe they help them out.
And your bosses, the coach, the club authorities, do they know you have those qualifications? Are they making good use of you outside of playing?
No, I think not the very best, but then I still want to commend them. Why? Because honestly, the club alone, first they gave me the permission to be on the show. At least that's one thing that they're not so ignorant about it. They know that at least I can do this and I can render services in this line. But I don't want to put the blame on the club, but I want to put the blame on the entire country, Uganda. We've honestly not prioritized mental health. So somebody hearing about that, they might just think it's something normal, something, I mean, they tend to ignore and don't give it maybe the respect and then the voice it deserves. So I don't push the blame to anybody, but then through maybe the various campaigns that we do, and through the various mental health awareness campaigns that are on board, I have a feeling that through those, they will honestly come to realize that it's really important, and it is a very important aspect of not only the game that we play, but even life generally.
When you spoke about how tough it is for your teammates, for example, to take you serious, the reason we laughed is that everyone on this panel, apart from myself, is guilty. No one takes the other serious.
We shall not contest your claim.
Since you're the innocent one.
It's your claim, you own it. We shall not contest it.
But, gentlemen, Emanzi?
I mean, I think one of the questions for you, Joshua, is that when you look at the players that you play with at URA and generally in football, I know that I've seen you at different events that are organized by the different personalities, EduAid, and the other organizations.
Yeah.
But have the players or sportsmen and women appreciated the fact that they actually need talking to sometimes? Do clubs support this? What have you seen? If you could just start maybe with football. When you look at people like you mentioned Edgar Kazibwe, who is also helping out with the Cricket Association.
There's also Madam Patricia Nantes.
Yeah, so is there acceptance from these clubs and players, maybe not necessarily URA players who are used to you, but the rest of the fraternity, do they actually appreciate that they need people to talk to them in that direction?
Okay, I want to start by saying that I spoke about a fixed mindset in our country, and allow me say in the sports sector as well. People tend to think that somebody coming out, maybe they speak up, they think it's a weakness, allow me say that. And then you introduce me, because I remember I work with Eye Care Foundation as well. Yeah, it's a non-profit organization, and I work as the mental health lead. But then, of course, like you know, we reach out to various clubs, of course, introduce this entire topic of mental health. But then, trust me, the reception is not the very best. Why? Because I have a feeling they tend to disguise mental health. Are thinking that, no, we only need a fitness trainer on board, and then a mental health coach. No. Maybe our coaches are going to do that. I mean, they think about, like you said, our athletes, no, they are tough enough, they can handle this. But hey, they are first humans before turning out to be athletes. And a human being cries, a human being hurts, and a human being faces quite a number of challenges. So to answer your question, the reception hasn't been the very best, but still I want to at least thank my club in URA, because they bring quite a number of different people to speak to us, the players, more so in line with like you know, financial literacy, and these are also components that at times affect our mental well-being. So they haven't touched the nitty-gritties in that line, but then at least allow me to say that it's a work in progress, and there is quite a need for more awareness campaigns in this line, because it's disguised honestly and they don't take it that serious. Yeah.
And of course, when you listen to Joshua, we already know that as a society or as a country, we've not really paid attention to the need that whatever organization somebody is, or whatever institution somebody is working with, or school they're going, there will be that time in life where you need somebody to work on your mental well-being. As a country, we don't really take it that serious. And of course, as a sports fraternity, we are part of that bigger society. And of course, like Joshua was saying in his first submission, that on so many occasions, when even people need help, we casually sweep it under the carpet. Oyo mulalo muveko. Oyo ajja kutereera, just ebimutawanya bitonde nchi ajja kudda nga ali bulungi. Oluzungu lungi and stuff like that. Yet in the actual sense, these people need help. And for me, just to probably supplement on Emanzi's question, we've seen you and your different teams doing different activities, but mainly with the young people. And we thought over time that these activities you're doing are also helping to create awareness of what you can do, especially at this stage where you are playing at the national level, but also among other disciplines. Have you been able to have other people in even other disciplines reaching out for them because they need help? I mean, you've talked about Edgar Kazibwe. We all know the good work he is doing with Cricket Uganda, especially with the Victoria Powers, the national team, to the extent that there are times when they're organizing trips and they're actually traveling with Edgar, not as the media office of Cricket Uganda, but as somebody who is supposed to attend to the mental well-being of these players. There are times when you want to talk to him and he tells you that I wasn't able to get back to you because I was in a session with a player, with the players and stuff like that. Have you been able to reach a situation where different administrators in different disciplines, even outside football, are actually reaching out because they feel their athletes, employees, and need a bit of these sessions?
Like I said that I work with Eye Care Foundation. We've at least tried to reach out to quite a number of federations. And then, like you mentioned about Cricket Uganda, honestly, these people really embraced the aspect of mental health. Because like you said, you did mention that even Edgar travels with them at times. But then to some federations, honestly, and they're given teams, yeah, we take the initiative of maybe going to the clubs to see of how best we can help them. But then, like I said, the reception isn't the very best. So in the bid that the reception isn't the very best, the only thing you're left with is maybe to boom with encouraging words on your social media platforms in the bid of creating awareness. Of course, with high hopes that, yeah, a certain time will come and then people will at least embrace mental health and people will embrace athlete mental well-being. But, and I've always still cried to the various federations, like the federation I'm coming from, FUFA, to honestly, because I give them credit for the various capacity building programs that they have put in place. That's a plus, honestly, because not quite a number of federations are having such. But then my humble cry always has been, if at all they incorporate the mental health related activities in those various capacity building programs, it would really be a good thing, because employing a sports psychologist, Ugandan standard, the clubs, honestly, we don't have so much money given the different clubs in the UPL. So employing a sports psychologist could be a little bit expensive. But then I was looking at something that would maybe loosen up something. And the different coaches have refresher courses, and we spoke about the other capacity building programs. So I was thinking that if at all the coaches get the basics of how to maybe help out a given player in case they're having any mental health related challenge, it would loosen up, and rather than maybe employing a sports psychologist. And this is for the start. I was looking at something to do with the start. But then I have a feeling that maybe they are thinking about it, because when I was going through that, I think, master plan, if not mistaken, I saw something to do with a player's mental health. And at least, yeah, I was a bit happy, but then still waiting upon maybe putting it in practice. But I really have a feeling that, at least for the start, if at all the coaches get the basics and then speak about some team leaders, because there is something we call a peer-to-peer, for example, session. And given teams have senior players, captains, and all those things. So I was just imagining that what if a given federation sets up maybe a capacity building program to teach the captains and the senior players, so that they continue also spreading the message to the various junior players and all those things. So to me, I thought those could be some of the avenues that are not quite expensive, that could help us at least in getting this problem of mental unwellness and at least focusing on athlete mental health, because like we all know that the various sports that we play, more so for football, the game, soccer, the game that I play, that it's 95% mental. And it's, for example, it's an aspect that has been not so much given attention, and then we focused so much on the physical bit, which takes the least percentage, honestly. So there is need to highly focus on the mental bit, so that we also improve and then have high performance criteria as Ugandan athletes, honestly.
For somebody who has been around Ugandan football for quite some time, and I know I'm asking for many people, but also your answer is going to be for many people out there. What are some of the things that affect you athletes, in this case footballers? But you, yes, we're saying football, but I'm sure it spreads across. What are some of the things that affects you guys mentally?
Okay. For the case of footballers, because those are the people that I literally know, know best, and in and out and all those things. One, from my simple survey, I've realized that there have been quite a number of cases of whereby footballers have been that they have been highly exploited, and this is a factor that has always brought about issues whereby the journalists come in and they're like, hey, Joshua was top notch at Wakiso. How come when you went to maybe a given club Y or a given club X or a given club this, he's deteriorating? You know, but of course Joshua can't tell you that I'm having such and such a challenge, because it's been like a culture here in the country that we the footballers don't speak up. Yeah, we the footballers can't fight for our rights. We the footballers can't do this and this. But then Joshua is having a very big problem. For example, there is a certain player in a given team that reached out. You see, I was hosting a space, an next space, about players' wages and how it impacts one's mental well-being. And then this player inboxed me and he was like, Joshua, I'm having that same issue. I signed 35 million sign-on fee, but now honestly, out of the 35, I'm going to get 8 million out of the 35. You get? So, but this is a player that has signed a lot of money, and even the news have published that, hey, Joshua has signed 35 million. And like, you know, that different pressures coming. Somebody has seen you signing 35 million, but then they are going to be like, how come Joshua is not showing us anything? He's not having even just a plot of land. He's not having a car. I mean, they're looking for maybe where you put that money. But yet in reality, Joshua just got 8 million out of the 35 million. And you know the mental toll that thing carries, honestly. And remember, some of these players, they are family men. Some of these players are coming from families that are not so well off. They are the breadwinners, not only in their immediate families, but even their other families, they support their parents and all those things. So trust me, that player can't perform on the pitch because they're going to be thinking about their money. They're going to be thinking of maybe what they would have done using that money. Maybe they would have invested, maybe they would have bought land and all those things. So for the journalists, for the fans, they're going to be like, what's wrong with Joshua? Yet deep down Joshua's life, he's having an issue that is killing him silently. And so this is the honest reason as to why maybe we came to this place, to at least tell my fellow athletes that it is only right you speak up, because a problem shared is a problem like half solved.
And Joshua, to stick on that point, it comes back now to you don't speak for fear of reprisal. So this player comes in box and shares with you. You are at this other club. You also are employed at that club. Yet if you don't follow up what he has told you with the club, then the solution is, rather the problem is not addressed. So you're going to have now to step out of your comfort zone at the risk of losing your job, actually follow through to the point that the other player, his issue is addressed at his club. I don't know how you navigate that.
Okay. Something that we did to help him out, like I've told you, because I'm an active athlete, however much I'm a psychologist. Of course, you know where maybe your help might stop. That's why I told you that personally, the fact that I'm still an active athlete, I tend to refer to my other colleagues that are still in this line. So of course I share with them, of course with lots of confidentiality, and then without judging them, and then I share. And I want to tell you that that player was helped in a way, because this other colleague of mine, he had to go and speak to the, good enough, it was a good club with very good structures. So he went, of course, raised the point, and then, maybe the people at the top, of course, they had to tell the people that maybe were taking the money, and then they told them, so the guy signed his money, so how come he's receiving this And the guy is now enjoying himself.
Nice.
Yeah, the guy is enjoying himself.
Nice.
So.
Is he playing like what Jordan is expecting to play?
Yeah, because by the way,
when I highly maybe tell you what he's doing, you people might get to know that person. So
Is he in fine form this season?
no. Just know that the guy is enjoying himself now.
what Joshua is raising, and maybe we are just narrowing it down to football, it affects athletes or footballers a lot.
Yeah.
We all know probably today Vipers gives the biggest sign-on fees in this country. If Vipers want you, you know you're going to make a killing out of it. Now, an agent takes you while you're trying to plan and budget for your money. The agent is also
planning
doing
and
the
budgeting.
same. So, in most times, the agent gets this money on your behalf. Now, the moment the agent gets the money, the agent disappears.
Yeah.
You who made the phone call and said, you called somebody asking how much is that plot of land costing, and you're promising people you're going to deliver and stuff like that, the person goes away with this money. So, in a way, it affects you mentally.
Yeah.
You, first of all, you can't perform, but then you have to show up because you signed a contract, but somebody has disorganized you psychologically. So for you to be able to recover and find your ground or find and resume running again, sometimes it gets a little bit hard. But also it gets worse when you probably sign for a club, first of all, that does not pay salaries. There are those that don't pay at all. There are those that don't pay on time. There are those that don't just care. Like you mentioned, some of these people are family men. You have rent to pay, you have bills to pay, you have tuition and stuff like that, and you're expected to show up every day to perform. Yet at the back, a lot is happening, and like you, of course, you picked out the journalists. The media is wondering why isn't Emanzi still banging in the goals? Yet Emanzi is dealing with a lot. So it is a serious issue, and the challenge is that the people who are the main causes of these issues are not doing enough to make sure that the mental well-being of these players is catered for. There are times, personally, I feel that some clubs or some players are failing to perform simply because they don't have somebody who is in the right position to talk to them so that they can be able to put in their best performances. And this not only in football, but also elsewhere.
Okay, guys, we have a break in the offing. I know. This one, we are in a class, my friend. We are all attentive, but we have so many questions. But we have a break in the offing. Just remind you that our poll question is up and running. So please head over to the NTV Uganda socials across all the platforms. It's Twitter, it's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's TikTok, and everywhere else. Share your thoughts. We'll be taking lots of those after the break. The poll question is about our topical discussion this evening, where we are asking, what can we do to address the question of mental health when it does come to Ugandan sport? After the break, we'll be reading out those comments as the discussion. Sport Knights, thank you so very much for staying with us. We're still going on with the topic of mental health here in Ugandan sports. I guess you're still here and listen up. The questions are still so many, including lots of your feedback that we'll be taking in this particular segment. But just before we get back to the discussion, just remind you that with just 9 points separating the league leaders Arsenal from second place Manchester City, the battle for the English Premier League title is clearly getting heated. The only thing that can make it better is a big screen. We're speaking about hair-raising audio and the bold taste of Guinness. So that's exactly what Match Day on Tour is bringing to Masaka. All you have to do is bring your crew to Sports Club on Sunday, the 19th of April, for the big one, to enjoy that game between Manchester City and Arsenal. But also, Everton will be up against Liverpool, and all the other games the way it's meant to be enjoyed with a perfectly chilled Guinness. We've also lined up fun games and amazing offers for you on the D-Day. If you come to the venue, it's going to be so much fun. That's epic live football for the fans, crafted by none other than Guinness. So make it a point to be there or be nowhere else. So the discussion does go on here on the show about mental health. Just before we went for the break, I was speaking about a lot to do with, salaries and sign-on fees. And of course, now the question comes in. I think, Joshua, you are still speaking about many of the causes of these mental health challenges. So first off, finances. And again, it takes me back to what I said earlier on, that we've narrowed the discussion to sport for the sake of the show. But I'm sure whoever is watching if financial challenges are, causes of mental health.
Yeah.
Maz is nodding. His head is almost
For everyone.
Exactly my point. That I'm sure you're watching and saying, I can relate. Yeah, you're not alone. It's many of us. We can relate. But Joshua, you're still speaking about the biggest causes of mental health challenges, especially in the world of sports.
Yeah, as we are still speaking about the issue to do with the sign-on fees and maybe the salaries. Also, us the players tend to have quite a number of issues in regards to that issue, because there are quite a number of incidents whereby us the players, you see, when you want to sign for a given team, you really have quite a number of things and quite a number of targets, and you're so anxious like to join that given club. So in the event, maybe somebody sits you down and they're like, yeah, hey Joshua, you're going to sign here, but then we need to do this and this. To me, I would think that from the start, if you don't accept or you're not in line with what that person is saying, I would think that from the start you would say no. But then to us, the players, most of the time we tend to be like, yes, I accept all this. And then in the event that the money has come, definitely you guys agreed. So you need to like fulfill whatsoever you guys agreed upon. So where the issue comes in, you see, when you see money, we are speaking about money. So many plans come, and then you're like, you know. But then it's going to, of course, put pressure on you because you guys agreed in the first place. So I want to echo this, that at times us the players, we are the problem to ourselves. So I would really think that just be clear, set your clear values and set your clear targets. Because even, you see, for example, in the different spheres of work, people, for example, football administrators, I have a feeling they talk to each other. Like their team, like we are different players from different clubs, but then we speak to each other. So I have a feeling that they also know of given players that have strict values, that you can't sit him down and you're like, hey, I need a bunch of this out of this. Why don't you set yourself to be such a player? I mean, set your values, and then these people are going to work in line with your values. So to us, the players, at times we are the problem to ourselves. So we need to address that, and then turn out to be players that are professional enough and that follow our values. And then maybe going back to the question that Clive asked in regards to the different things that affect us, there is also a challenge of some players, by the way, opt for drugs. I want to let you know that they opt for drugs thinking that they are going to maybe have a high performance. They're not going to get tired, like they're going to play 90 minutes when they're on and off, back to back.
High octane.
Yeah, you know. But then I want to still let my fellow players know that this mind, what you tell your mind, it's what it's going to maybe consider, and it's what it's going to maybe work on. It's like, allow me say, it's like a computer. When you press an escape button, it's going to react that way. When you press a shift button, it's going to react that way. So when you tell your mind that when I smoke a stick of marijuana, I will run from minute 1 to the 90th minute.
You're going to run.
You're going to run. If you tell your brain that, yes, if I take a bottle of water, I can run from minute 1 to minute 90, like to the 90th minute, trust me, your brain, it's going to respond the same way. So it's to do with simply the mind. So allow me tell you that that stick of marijuana that you're going to take, it's not the one that has boosted you, or it's not the one that has given you that energy to push for 90 minutes. But it's just a mindset that I've taken this and it has given me this. But honestly, the Lord created us And then our bodies are conditioned. That's why we train every day. You train every day so that you condition your body for that longevity in the game, and so that you perform at a high level, and so that you can endure maybe the 90 minutes plus. So trust me, with proper training, how can you tell me that introducing a stick of marijuana is going to change a thing?
I think Joshua's point is so underrated.
Yeah.
Maybe also the other conspiracy theory around the marijuana bit is when it's sunny, those are the right conditions for you to thrive.
Yeah.
Now, I'm driving to a point where now it affects you mentally.
Yeah.
After 20 minutes, the sun disappears,
Yeah.
the cloud comes out.
Surely.
I know now there's that conspiracy theory that
The sugar levels drop.
if it is not shining or if it is not hot, you won't perform.
Yeah.
So psychologically, it is working on you.
Yeah.
You are prepared yourself to perform for 90
I've
minutes.
always told you that thing is psychological.
Yeah, it's
Joshua,
It is psychological.
I know we are onto the players and all. Do the clubs understand the need for this service at the club? Because if they don't, the clubs, the authorities themselves need this service.
Yeah.
So they need to be vulnerable and bring someone in to actually speak to them. Now, if they don't appreciate it, it's hard to come down to the players unless you have special cases like Joshua, who has a life of value foundations, and because he trained in it. So for the club, I think the club is a reflection of what the authorities are. So how do we reconcile the two?
And maybe if I could just add in the same line that at what point do you think a psychologist is needed, maybe for these players and in the club? Is it during a match? Is it after the match? Because surely, I think we all agree that the clubs might not all be able to afford a full-time psychologist. So what are the phases that you look at and say, maybe before going into a game, you should have someone speak, probably at the start of the year? When exactly is a psychologist very important in a football club?
Okay, I want to start by maybe answering that very question. It would really be important if at all they had a psychologist. For example, each and every day, like they have a coach. Yeah, because something to do with mental health, it's also a process. And you know, a process has different procedures, a process has quite a number of things. So there are certain stages, and like, you know, these athletes, they have different, let me say, phases of how they behave. So it calls for somebody that has to be within them, so that they study the different maybe behaviors, the different traits, and the different maybe conditions that these other athletes are having, so that they start by maybe assessing them, and then they see of how best those athletes can improve. So maybe to answer that, they would need a psychologist to be there every day. But then for the fact that we haven't gotten there yet, you could maybe suggest maybe 2 days to the game. Yeah, for the start, 2 days for the game, to the game, so that he takes them through quite a number of maybe pre-game routines, so that all in the bid of these athletes having and performing at maybe at a top level. Yeah, so he or she is very important. But then the time it would have been every day. But then for the case that they are quite expensive, so maybe 2 or 3 days to the game.
Let me share an experience.
Maybe he shouldn't forget what
There's
I asked.
something from Andrew as well.
And then maybe from Andrew, what he asked. Honestly, these clubs, they haven't so much prioritized it, like I said. But then it's never too late, I should say. And this is a problem that I don't want to entirely tie to the clubs. But then it is a problem that I would entirely tie to the country, Uganda as a whole. Because like Clive spoke about the different sectors. Yeah, we speak about the entertainment and all the other sectors in the country. Honestly, mental health hasn't been prioritized that much. So I would really think that it is something that we should start as a country to give it a priority. Then it will proceed to these other different sectors. So I can't blame them that much for that. But however, I would also say that quite a number of different campaigns, quite a number of cases, so many people have been lost due to suicide and quite a number of things. So many people at work are getting depressed, you know, anxiety in there. So I would think that, and more so this post-COVID era, after that COVID, quite a number of registered cases have been seen. So I would think that the top maybe people in the various organizations, authorities, they would honestly see the red maybe flags, and then they're like, okay, maybe we need to do something. Yeah, so there are these initiatives where different organizations maybe go for, how should I maybe call them? I think it's like a get-together or something to do like that.
Team bonding?
Team bonding, yes, and team building. Yeah, different, quite a number of organizations have such sessions. But then in such sessions, why don't you introduce in a psychologist to at least speak to the different workers in there? Because even you guys have work stress as well.
Oh yeah.
It's not only for
a lot of it.
So what?
Oh yeah.
You know,
We just think we are strong.
you know, so I mean, somebody gets up, they have a certain target. I have a friend of mine who is a banker, and he works in the credit section. And this guy tells me that, bro, you know what? I have to hit this specific target for this month. Yeah. But then you see him actually even at times missing up on sleep because he has to hit a given target. So I'm like, is this guy's mental health honestly safe? Because you can't tell me you're not sleeping enough. And then us, when we come to speak to people, we tell them that one of the ways of how you can improve your mental well-being is having enough sleep. So that alone, him not sleeping enough, I highly doubt he's going to be so productive at work the following day and all those things. So it is something that cross-cuts in our lives, not only to the athletes, but even at work. Yeah.
Joshua mentioned something earlier where he said if having experts on board is expensive, he expected the federation or even other stakeholders to at least start probably working with the coaches through trainings that can help them.
Give them the basics.
With the basics that can help them manage their athletes and all that. And earlier on I said I wanted to share an experience. I should have been in 2017 when we were preparing for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. I happened to be in the Uganda Cranes camp in Kaboja, where they were training from. I think they were staying at Serene Suits in Motundo or something like that. And I happened to attend their last training session before they left for camp. I don't remember where they were camping, but I think they had a 10-day camp somewhere before they go to Gabon. So no one knows who is traveling. Micho, the head coach, disappeared 30 minutes before the training ended. He left the list or whatever with his assistant Moses Basena. To deal with it. Coach Moses Fasena felt he could not deal with it. He forwarded the list to the kitman at the time. I don't remember the name, but the gentleman has since passed away. Wow. So this is how the kitman dealt with the situation. The team goes back to Serene Suites. So if he came and knocked on your door and requested for the training kit, that was confirmation that you were not traveling. So that is how players got to realize that I'm not making the final squad for the Africa Cup of Nations. Yet you thought that probably it is something that should have been handled in a more better, mature way, where you call these guys, you talk to them and stuff. Like you try to talk to them and see how best this can be handled. And I remember one of the players who was affected the most was Derek Nsibambi. At the time he was playing for KCCA. Because throughout the qualifiers, the preparations, the build-up, if there was a player every journalist was sure was going to make that trip, was Derek Nsibambi. Because of the things Mitchell used to say about him. Remember now we are going into that transition where Geoffrey Massa is about to retire and Mitchell feels this is the right or perfect guy to take over from Geoffrey Massa. And he was performing well in training, in the friendlies and all that. But if you remember, he was dropped ahead of Shaban Muhammad, who at the time had been named Football of the Year. And it took Derek Nsibambi about 2 or 3 weeks to return to training in Lugogo. The coaches had to call him, his colleagues, different people like had to call. They knew what was going on, and they wouldn't blame him at the time. But different people actually had to talk to him to convince him to return to training. He was so heartbroken because he was probably also sure the coach is telling him, you're my guy, you're part of my team and stuff like that. And he gets to find out that he's not traveling by a kitsman coming, knocking on his room and telling him, give me the kit because you're not on the list that is going to make the trip. So as athletes, how do you deal with issues of, first of all, not having a good relationship with your coach? You feel you're putting in enough, but the coach feels what you think is enough is not good enough for them to actually give you game time.
Wow.
Okay, you see, like you said, there are quite a number of cognitive distortions in Ugandan football, honestly. But I'm going to speak from my very own experience as an athlete. It's not a brag or what, but then I've had quite a number of people asking that, hey, Joshua, at your club, how come each and every coach that comes, like you play? And then there are quite a number of your colleagues. Maybe a given coach this comes on the team, they're sidelined. And how come on each and every regime you're playing? One, I tell them first, it's by the grace of God, maybe for that favor. Yeah, that's one. And then secondly, I literally know how to deal with people. I mean, I'm going to spend with you just 2 hours of my day, like at the training ground. Can't I honestly maybe hide all my, maybe my bad characters and my bad behaviors for only the 2 hours? I mean, you know, coaches need to be respected. Yeah, coaches need you to work hard and all those things. But however, there are certain players as well that do all those things. They work hard, they are disciplined, they are good, but still they are sidelined. So literally me, what I do is that I try to focus on things I can control and then things that I cannot control, honestly, because I have anything that I have in control. For example, I have control over the effort that I give on the pitch once given a chance to maybe play. But then I cannot have control on reading myself on the lineup, for example. Literally, that's not in my control. So there are certain players, for example, when they are not read on the match day squad, then they start maybe speaking ill of that given coach. But
Coach Tanjagala.
Yeah, Coach Tanjagala, all those things. But it's not in your control, honestly. And it's upon the coach to decide. Maybe coach always tells us that you guys have to stay calm, because depending on maybe the opponents that we are going to play, it could maybe request for a given maybe player. Remember, we are players that make up a team, but with different qualities. Speak about the body structures and all those things. So we might be having a game that maybe requires Joshua to be on the pitch, but then we could be having another game that doesn't require Joshua to be on the pitch, that requires Andrew to be on the pitch. So first forward, we need to acknowledge that there are certain things that are in our control and certain things that are not in our control. So I believe when you understand that, there is no way you're going to be so much.
You're in control there, Joshua.
Yeah, surely I was in
control. Now your teammate Nelson Senga.
And you know, Nelly was like a colleague even before joining us, and so I remember that I highly tackled him. I remember that. And then I told him that, you know what, bro. But honestly, I was literally knowing what I was doing because he was killing us. So maybe back to the other thing is that we just need to know the controllables and the non-controllables. That's basically.
I don't. If I could come in, I know that the issue you mentioned that football is 90%, 95% mental, and maybe the issue of injuries. Just the other day, or it should be today, I was watching an interview of Aigbeni Yakubu talking about his supposed move. He was supposed to go to Chelsea while at Everton, and the same day that the agent talked about the move, he got injured playing for Everton and tore his ACL, and the deal just couldn't happen. So, I mean, beyond just the recovery, I'm sure he's thinking about playing for Chelsea, a big club, the money that he's going to get. But for you guys, luckily you're still very active, recovering from injuries. How much is the psychologist important beyond maybe the surgery that you've had, the recovery through physiotherapy? How important is the psychologist on that journey?
Maybe, Manzi, there's also now the other bit of failure to be able to find funds to treat that injury because your club has abandoned you. And you've seen players playing through with those injuries, others just quit because somebody just can't keep up with the responsibilities of treating them.
Yeah, one, I want to start answering that by saying that most of us are footballers, most of us athletes are driven by passion. That's one thing. And then maybe seeing yourself lose out on something that you love with all your heart. And then to make it even nice, you're doing something that you love and then you're earning out of it. So maybe losing such a thing, honestly, it doesn't leave you in a very safe place, more so to do with your mental health and your mental well-being. So I remember I'm going to answer this from my own experience when I was at Bull FC. I remember I got a fracture, and then those were my earlier days of maybe starting to play at top flight. I remember I got the injury, and I've always echoed this, and the very first thing that I said was, I've become an ex-international at a tender age. That's all I was shouting. So I was thinking that, yeah, everything had come to an end. How am I going to catch up with life? I was like, however much I studied, but this is something that I love. This is something that I told my parents, you know what, mommy, you know what, daddy, I'm studying, I'm bringing this degree for you. I want to concentrate on playing football. But then at the start or at the beginning of my career, and then I get a career-threatening injury. So in my case, I remember there is a gentleman called Mr. Nswemo Godfrey. He's in Ginger. He's a physiotherapist and not a psychologist. But then this guy was so good to me because he actually played the role of a psychologist. Because I remember on me breaking the leg, I had feelings that I will not return maybe and play again. But this guy gave me hope, you know. He gave me hope. Besides, yes, I'm a Christian, I would pray. You would talk to maybe a reverend. Yes, I would talk to my mom. And for me, my greatest weapon in that regard was family. Yeah, I love my family so much. And they honestly stood during that time. But then it was a very wonderful support system in that regard. So for a psychologist, for example, at such a time,
Is that
one,
true?
they are going to be your support system in the first place. They are going to give you hope in that line. And then they are going to, as well, let you know. Because at times when you're so vulnerable, when you're having an issue, at times you think, at times you're hopeless, allow me use the word, you're hopeless. And you're thinking that, am I going to even get over this? But then if you have somebody that is getting you the hope, somebody that is speaking positivity in your life, somebody that is encouraging you, somebody that is supporting you, honestly, you see yourself maybe changing that decision. You see yourself gaining hope that, hey, it's only about time. I'm going to get back and play. So a psychologist is highly important, more so in regards to the time when a player is injured and then they are rehabilitating to get back, because it's a source of hope to that given athlete.
Okay, Joshua, and I know our time is fast spent. We have just a couple of minutes to wrap it up.
Okay.
And so it brings me to the question of, for whoever is watching out for, you know, for these athletes or anyone away from sport, like I said earlier on, what are some of those quick signs, you know, that I could look at Clive and say, well, Clive atanse you know, to do this.
The
Maybe
signs are
he's,
evident on the show.
they're evident on the show.
Okay, like we defined mental health and maybe the mental related illnesses, that these are a wide range of conditions, and then conditions are like it's a composition of different signs and symptoms. So first, if you see yourself not actually properly doing your day-to-day life activities, for example, waking up, you see, different people have different routines when they wake up. To some, they wake up and pray. That's on a normal day. They wake up, pray, take a shower. To us athletes, maybe you try to activate your body, you do some maybe push-ups, you know, those things. And then brush, of course, and then dress smart, ironed, and then you head to what? You head for work. But so if you start seeing yourself a given day, like you were stressed the previous day, you sleep, you wake up, you feel you don't want to shower, you feel you don't want to maybe brush. These are red flags and showing you that, hey, maybe I'm not okay. Because at times we tend to think that you need those very, very big signs, speak about irritability, isolating yourself, but then just missing out on these normal day-to-day activities. That's already a red flag and showing you that, hey, maybe I'm not okay. And then if you can embrace that, that's a time whereby you're going to be like, hey, maybe Andrew, and they're like, let me call Clive. And you're like, Clive, could you spare some time this evening? And then you pass by my place, I have an issue. Then you're seeking help. So before you know it, maybe Clive would be like, after maybe listening, and of course without judgment, to your story. And then if at all he has each and everything of how he can maybe help you, he can maybe render the support and the help. But if at all it's maybe so big on him, it's a Clive that you've asked for that will maybe refer you to maybe a professional. That's in the bid to seek professional support. If at all he realizes that, hey, this is a condition that I can't handle maybe. So those are some of the signs on a normal day that you can tell, because if I take you to all those signs of maybe you're feeling so weak, and these come with extremes, so extreme weakness, you know, irritability, then you start isolating yourself. Basically, it's at the extreme that you see, because stress, every day we get stressed. You know, not everybody that is stressed, that they are mentally ill, no. But it depends on the level of stress. Yeah, and then if you can't handle that stress on a given day, that's also a check that you're not mentally well, because for somebody that is mentally well, they can deal with the normal day stressors.
And these people don't want to go back home early. I know a group where we have our slogan of any reason to leave home. but also there are these others who they just don't want to go back home. It is a given day and you are around town. Could that be an issue of...
I think we need that session with Joshua.
No, it depends. Maybe home alone could be a stressor, and they're trying to avoid that stressor.
We have a colleague who's also a friend of yours. He insists Saturday is a sports day. Even if there are no activities, any reason to leave home, he has to keep around time.
Okay, Andrew, that's going to be the final.
It can't be final when we have talked about if things like witchcraft or relationships.
Yeah.
But you talk about that psychologically. It means
how long?
If you take my
Relationships and witchcraft are serious things.
I think Joshua, I think we're going to set up a session for you with Clive. I think he has a relationship issue.
I have two quick
about
ones.
athletes.
I have two quick ones. I know you are not retired.
I know I'm not.
But we have a phenomenon of when people are crossing over, leaving sports, going into retirement. Our friend Mujib Kasule calls it the gray area, the area of darkness.
Yeah.
As we are welcoming a young Joshua, Simbi is, a one man is, moving over. So as we are embracing Joshua, Emazi is moving out, but then Emazi feels betrayed. You are no longer following him, you're not showing him the love, and then he goes into an area, a dark space, and no one is talking about them. Then they go on with retirement, and before you know, we have them. You know, they begin, you know, going into a mental breakdown, they isolate themselves. So the people who are transitioning into that retirement, if you were to say a word to them, what would you say? And then finally, Joshua is taking care of other people.
Yeah.
Who takes care of Joshua when it hits him?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So if you are to speak about the retirement cliff, honestly, what affects most of these athletes is a loss of identity. Yeah, because we've heard of stories, a case in point, our beloved coach, Coach Mike.
Yeah.
So I think you guys realized that coach, to me, and I honestly own this, I literally think that it was due to loss of identity. Because coach is one gentleman that, in fact, he's an icon.
Yeah.
Because trust me, the coach has led quite a number of players. And maybe to him he thought that he did not receive maybe the care he needed. Yeah. So maybe this forced him to isolate himself. And then before maybe we knew it, maybe quite a number of things piled up in that regard. But I want to think that it was typically due to loss of identity. And this is one killer to most of us athletes, because when I'm still actively playing, I'm a star, like money is coming in, endorsements are coming in.
Cameras on
but
you.
Cameras on me, you know. But then when I retire,
We are
cameras
embracing
are,
young ones.
you know, they're embracing young ones and all those things. So one advice I would maybe give more so to the current or the active athletes, they should know that we are going to grow old.
Yeah.
And then stop playing actively. This is where I embrace the aspect of going to school, honestly. Because when you go to school, at least you're a little bit safe that you have a plan B. That maybe, because the beauty with playing football is that quite a number of people see you, you make quite a number of friends and all those things. But one big problem, and I take it to the fixed mindset that we Ugandan footballers have, we only think that earning out of football is through the sign-on fees that I'm going to get, through the salaries and all those things. But hey, you can earn a very good friend that is going to push you to the next life, like the life after football. You know, but then we tend to fix, you know, our brains and our minds on, I need to grab this sign-on fee, I need to move to this team, I need to do this. And then through doing that, it also takes us back. At times we don't behave in a nice way. You know, we think we are stars. We end up, you know, hitting up on people. You know, we tend to show them that we have the whole world. So all those things. There is need to behave well when you're still actively playing, because there is this life that you don't know about. Because what we all know about is playing that ball, kicking a ball, and all those things. We don't know how best to invest. We don't know how, okay, which business should I maybe focus on and all these things. But then trust me, if at all you had a friend or a manager, all those things that can guide you on how to invest, that can guide you on how to maybe invest in this given business, trust me, life could be, it might not be very smooth, but at least it could be a little bit smooth, and you could have a little bit of a smooth transition from this life of being active to the other life of after football.
Okay.
Then on who takes care of you? If what we are trying to address here comes to you, who do you talk to?
Okay, me fast forward, like I told you, I have colleagues. Mostly when you see, yes, I'm also I'm a psychologist, yes, but at times I also face challenges that I can't handle myself. So I run to colleagues, and I'm like, I seek professional help. And then by the grace of God, I have family. Yes, I have my immediate family. I have my lovely wife, and then my little daughter. So I don't know, but there is a beauty that the Lord put in children or in kids. I remember in moments when, for example, we lose a game, I mean, you feel you don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah, you feel, and more so when maybe a small team has hit you.
Okay.
Yeah, allow me put that in quotes because there is no small team, but okay, there are certain teams that you think
Yes.
are due to that pedigree.
Yeah.
I mean, you're way ahead of them, and they have hit you, and before you know it, you're losing out on bonuses.
Oh, yeah.
You're losing out on what? At times, quite a number of things might happen after a loss. But then there is this angel that I meet at home. She gives me a hug.
Nice.
You know those things. And so,
Andrew can't relate.
yeah, there is a way. There
I
is
think
a
we
way.
need to stick to the show.
Yeah, you know, there is a way you forget about each and everything that is happening, and then speak about my wife.
Yeah.
I mean, she can talk to you, and they're like, okay, life still has to go on.
Yeah.
Please hang in there. Maybe you will win the next one, and then before you know it, you win the next one.
Yeah.
And so maybe due to those affirmations and the positive affirmations that you get, speak about family. I have a lovely, I have lovely parents, my dad and mom.
Yeah.
Whenever we are going to play, at least they call you.
Wow.
They're like, son, you go and represent us. You're not playing for yourself alone. You're playing for this family. So all those words come back to you and you're like, okay, I have to please my parent. I have to please my sister. We have a lovely sister. She's so loving, and then she can always tell you, at least make sure you win this game. I'll do this for you. I mean, she's also a motivating factor for you to perform and all those things. I have a brother that we share the same, for example, Sport Huntington. Yeah, so we talk to each other. He pushes me, I push him.
Brother or your siblings?
Yeah, no, like my sibling. Huntington is a brother.
Okay.
He's the one that I follow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Huntington.
Uganda, they say, Bwarita Goli Kwata.
Aha.
What?
We are
Okay.
Quarter. Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
okay.
Huntington Sewalunyo. Yeah, he's my elder brother.
Okay.
And so we speak to each other because our other two siblings are in this sector.
How many people know this?
You know, yeah. So our other two siblings are not in this sector. So most of the time, more so with issues in regards to football, I tend to share with Huntington because at least he will literally understand what I'm going through and all those things. And then I also support him in case he has had a bad game. Yeah, you know, because bad games are also a part of this.
Yeah.
In case he has had a bad game, and even in moments when he has actually shined, I also tell him that, bro, you know what? Let's keep pushing.
Yeah.
We need to raise this bar high.
Okay, Clive.
Just briefly, for
I
me,
promise to give you your time
briefly.
to ask that question.
not that question, but from his last submission, personally, what I've picked out from that, on so many occasions, many of us have this support system around us that is willing to be part of our success, part of our downfalls and stuff like that, but we never really embrace the support system.
Yeah.
We never open.
And in the process of not embracing the support system, we get affected.
Yeah.
Now, when we get affected, we don't know who to run to. Yet these people are here,
Yeah.
but because we don't want them to be part of this process, we find ourselves in a corner where we are all alone. They are there, you don't want to talk to them, you don't want to embrace them, you think you can handle this by yourselves, yet you can't handle this by yourselves. But now to ask my final question, this thing.
It's going to be the final question.
Yeah,
for
the
this
final question. The issue of, should I call them relationships? Should I call them what?
Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you find so many athletes who are affected by the issue
He's
of...
using athletes, but you get it.
Yeah, yes, I
the
do.
issue of, we call them Bamama and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it affects them mentally, but they don't know how to still
Yeah.
deal with it. Well, you have a family, you have a wife, you have a child,
Yeah.
probably you're not. But I know you
Yes,
know the
of course.
jazz that goes around in the locker rooms.
I've once
stuff
been
like
there,
that.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yes,
How
I've
serious
once
is this issue, and how should athletes deal with it?
I want to start by saying
Just in
that,
what?
that relationships to the athletes, relationships, they either make us or break us. That's it. But I have a feeling that, okay, for example, for my sake, I have somebody that is really understanding. That is key. Because like I spoke about something to do with values. On picking up, for example, my wife, it didn't just come out of the blue. I was so intentional, and I literally knew the person that I was looking out for. So me as Joshua, I had a value, and I thought that I don't want to get a wife that is around sports. I mean, that was maybe my thought. So, and I was vying to get a practitioner. And then by the grace of God, I got a nurse, you know. So I was really intentional.
You are sorted.
And I laid my strategy very well. So that's why, amongst the challenges that I have, at least a relationship is not part of them.
But
But
now we're
then-
speaking for the others.
Speaking for the others, you know, each and everything, ne mu Luganda tulina enjogera egamba nti tuwasa oba kufuna mirembe, you know, like basically nti
A relationship should give you peace.
it should give you peace, because there are quite a number of things that you can get out of it ebikuwa emirembe ng'omuntu, you get. But then I'm imagining wayagala ofuna emirembe ate ng'ofunye lutalo. It can't honestly leave you mentally well, because this is a person, like I always tell people, that somebody, before you go to bed, you're going to look at them, and this is the same person that you're going to first have your eyes on
In the morning.
that very morning when you're starting up your day. That person must be very important, and that person must be very nice.
Yes.
That person should be an angel.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm just imagining you had a fight in the night and then you're looking at her in the morning. I highly doubt you're going to have a productive day, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Gistin is laughing.
I highly doubt.
This thing
But
can't
then
relate.
I'm just imagining that you had a good time and then you wake up in the morning, you're giving her, let me say, a hug. And it's like, may I call her Boo Boo? Yeah, you know, and she calls me Boo Boo.
Come on, Joshua.
So I can
You
be
got
like,
this.
I can be like, Boo Boo,
Yo.
let's pray. And then she gives me a hug and she's like,
Bobo wali kati wao.
have the very best in the day. And to me, that alone, I mean, I've
It's
prayed
brilliant, man.
and I've gotten a hug from her. They're all green flags for me to have a bright
The
day,
day is already
honestly.
starting on the right
Yeah.
note.
And if you have a game that day, oh, they are finished.
They're
They are
finished.
dead.
And then we are glad, at least for us, before any match, we are for camp. So
Yeah.
Gistin.
yeah, at least
Gistin.
I can hold hand, be like, okay. Boo,
Joshua, I
hope you're-
can
hope you're with
guarantee
me,
you,
you know, yeah.
Your URA bosses are extremely proud of you tonight.
Thank you.
And maybe for URA, just note our faces. If we come to you, please, when you're assessing those taxes. I mean, the whole show we've been having Mungalo, receipt, what. I mean, we've done great. I mean,
You know-
and tomorrow I'll be calling some people at
Guys,
URA.
we need to.
You know when I reached out to the
Clive, in a minute,
URFC media
in a
officer
minute.
yesterday, Mr. Ronnie Rusuri, requesting him that we wanted to host Josh on the show, he asked me in Uganda, aba URA etufunira mungu. I told him, for starters, we are hosting the URA player. It's already Mofunamu. But
Okay.
like Andrew has mentioned, there's been a lot of visibility on the screen.
All right, Joshua, thank you very much.
Hey, he's done. Joshua, brilliant. You have quite,
This thing has
your
really
relationship
enjoyed
is
this.
inspiring.
No, the reason I was laughing is because while Joshua was speaking about being married, first of all, I was looking at Emanzi, who is our representative of this show when it comes to that institution, and then I was looking at
At yourself and you're like, what the hell?
I was looking at the two people on your extreme left who have no clue what you're speaking. Absolutely
No, but
clueless.
do you have a
the
clue?
nickname Bubu really almost got you off your seat.
But anyway,
But
Joshua,
you have a
thank you
clue.
very
Do you
much.
know what it means to
Joshua,
wake up next
thank
to a
you.
smiling face and hugs you in the morning?
Thank you
And
very
if you
much,
had the face,
Joshua.
you don't want to look, do
Andrew,
you?
let me thank
Come on
Joshua.
now.
Let me thank Joshua. Thank you, Joshua, for making the time and your insights when it does come to mental health. That was such a class. That was such a class. Thank you so very much. Not just mental health, your insights on everything. How is
he's
a
been
good friend Hussein Balangu?
Yeah, he's very okay.
Yamazo, what did he say? Yamazo Kolachi? KCCA?
Kiroto chantise ikesisi. Uliwajisanga nojijake
All right.
He's very okay and preparing us for
Joshua is going to think to see the predictions.
Yeah, most definitely. What I'm saying, we have a segment segment where we predict, right?
no problem.
And we also predicted the URA KCCA game. It's going to be a bit of embarrassment, but don't worry, don't worry.
No, we have you for mental health. Someone
But
gave
also,
KCCA
after you look at the predictions table, I think we are going to book sessions for some people, depending
I
on
have
who
the
is
right
doing.
support casts in the prediction session.
All right. So I think, Karim, then we go straight into the predictions. You know, there was something else that is supposed to be, of course, we had back in time, we still had to speak about Arsenal, but our time is fast spent, so we'll go straight into the predictions. First off, we'll look at how we predicted from the games we predicted from last week, see how we fared.
But it says back in time is on?
I mean, our time is fast spent, but let's have back in time. Is that true? So
before the
let's have back in time, and then we'll get into our prediction segments.